When did I stop hesitating and start graciously accepting the hands of my vanquished opponents? As if that was what I wanted! That's not the height of perfection that I sought for so long!
From the outside, Isaac Neteros is like the classic, wise old master archetype. He's the chairman of the Hunter Association and grandmaster of the Shinryu School of Kung Fu, which roughly translates to style that originates from the heart. Before founding this school, Neteros subjected himself to a 4-year daily regimen of 1,000 punches of gratitude, intersected by prayer. Each of his prayers being an action of the heart, something he believes to be very valuable. The Buddhist belief from Neteros is made obvious, from the long earlobe to his own nen ability. In Hunter x Hunter, a nen user's Hatsu often reflects the user's personality, but no nen ability is so deceptive as Neteros' 100-type Guanyin Bodhisattva. In Buddhism, a Bodhisattva is someone who is able to reach enlightenment, yet delays so in order to save suffering beings. And the Guanyin Bodhisattva is the compassionate goddess of mercy. Isaac Neteros sees himself as a man with the only thing stopping him from reaching enlightenment is his compassion to teach others through the Hunter Association and Shinryu School. But the cracks in his facade start to show very early in the series. The Hunter exam held by Isaac Neteros seems like it's designed to only allow the most worthy hunters to pass. But in comparison to his successor chairman, Cheeto's more civil exam, Neteros' method looked barbaric in retrospect. The final exam had the only results of the matches being victory or submission, with no room for defeat. Trying and failing often resulting in death in the exam. During Neteros' ballgame, Killer submits to Netero and accepts defeat, while Golem finds his own sense of victory by forcing Netero to use his left hand. In the final exam, Netero gives Hisoka twice as many chances of Leorio, even knowing that Hisoka has no intention of being Hunter. He casually ignores Hisoka and Illumi's murder threats, and also dismisses the idea of Illumi manipulating Killua, despite being fully aware of Nen and its applications. This makes it seem like Netero cares very little about morality compared to strength. The Chimera Ant arc is when Neteros' facade is truly broken, and the core of his character is made apparent. Foreshadowing this revelation, Netero cuts off his top knot, wears his lucky heart shirt, in preparation for the battle. The cutting of a top knot is often symbolic of abandonment of social roles, and the shirt is only said to be worn when he gets serious. The top knot symbolizes his facade of a compassionate bodhisattva being discarded, and wearing heart on his shirt symbolizes him revealing his true nature, figuratively wearing his heart on his chest. When Netero and Zeno arrive at the palace and find Miriam caring for a wounded Komugi, the two old men stand by in respect. To intervene on an act of humanity would violate his mission and his values. Netero acknowledges and respects humanity even when it's coming from the ant. When Miriam explains how his plans for humanity are more humane than the current state of the world, Netero ponders the idea for a moment. He sees the humanity in Miriam, believing he can tip either way, but before he has a chance to second guess himself, Netero starts the attack, interrupted by memory of the call from the V5. A group of auto dregs separated from the conflict by borders, feasting on excess, just as Miriam described. Netero reminded himself that his mission was not diplomacy, it was the complete annihilation of the ants. Netero is shown sitting in the heart of a lotus, a plant that grows pure despite its roots growing in murky waters. Guanyin Bodhisattva is a merciful goddess, yet Netero has honed it as a weapon of combat. Its 100 arms used to reach out to suffering beings have been repurposed to bring suffering on its opponent through combat. Netero's final attack, the Zero Hand, is described as a merciless roar, a confession of Netero's true desires. Deflated by his ego after his final attack, Netero reveals his true form, both physically and spiritually. Netero pierces the heart he values so much, revealing not a lotus of purity but a rose of malice. He himself even believes he would go to hell despite not even believing in one. I believe Netero's character can be best described by 3 layers, each one being a facade for the deeper layer beneath it, yet the core still shines through. The first layer, the surface, is the facade. It's the layer that the majority of the characters in the story see, along with the audience at the beginning of the story. On this layer, Netero appears as a wise, although slightly odd old man. He maintains his appearance as a bodhisattva and a grand master with respect for the martial arts. A handful of people close to Netero, such as Jin and Pearson, seem to have seen past the facade and into the second layer, his conscious mind. Netero's desires are made apparent here. His hunger for battle and to prove himself contradicts the implied values of his facade. But as you unravel the layers of Netero, you begin to see the core which all the layers stem from. The final layer is not as pure as he suggests, but is consumed by a sinister instinct of humanity, superiority, the unconscious desire for the human mind to become and remain the apex predator. When you look at Netero from the core outward, you can see it in all of his actions. The ball game, his desire for battle, his disgust towards ants, they all stem from the instinct to prove himself superior. Who else would be a better fit for the extermination from the ants but the personification of superiority himself? Everyone believed that humans are weaker than the ants because of their individuality, but in fact we are stronger because of it. The weapon used to defeat the ants were mass-produced to be used against ourselves. To use it is to physically plant evil in your heart. The ants were no more a threat to humanity than we are. The irony of it all is, Netero's sacrifice was very ant-like, mirroring Merrim's human-like death. In reality, we are no different from the ants. In fact, we could be much worse.